Every year, trainers, owners and agents alike all flock to the sales, eager to fill their stables and all hopeful that there might well be a future star among them. And when it comes to that, there's no shrewder judge than trainer Karl Burke, who year after year unearths group winners that have cost just a fraction of the price you might expect. So what is his secret? Well, I've come here to Tattersalls October yearling sale to try and get to the bottom of how he picks them. Previous finds include this year's Morny winner, Unfortunately, unearthed for just €24,000 as a yearling. Two-time Group 1 winner Odeliz, a €22,000 yearling. And champion sprinter Quiet Reflection, a 44,000 guineas breeze-up purchase. Now on the hunt for his next bargain, he casts his eye over a son of first season sire Coach House, consigned by Grove Stud. So Karl, I've got 25 grand to spend. Ideally I'd like a Group 1 winner if possible. What is it? How do you magic them up? What is it you're looking for?
The first thing I do, Gina, is obviously look through the catalogue, but I'd never ever buy a horse from a page. You know, I'd always want to see the model. But I love looking at the different crosses, and I have a picture in my head when I see a stallion crossed with a certain mare and what that horse might look like. This one's an interesting colt, a Coach House colt. I trained the dam of Coach House, Lesson in Humility. It was a very fast horse. A nice colt, actually.
Yes,
it's the first time I've seen this horse.
Colt. It comes out, to me it looks really in proportion, like well-balanced horse.
It's got a good shoulder, good strong second thigh, good hind leg, nice straight, from the hock down, no curbs. He's got a good head as well. I love a horse with a nice head. So you have a look at the horse side on, you're having a look at it as a whole profile. What are you looking for in the walk? Just like to see how well balanced they are when they pull up to a stop, and just see how correct they are. I mean, so sometimes correct, sometimes you can get a horse who's very offset in his knees, where the joints are not in line, and obviously then pressure all the way down when that horse is galloping or walking. So the bone column has to be sort of in line. Exactly. What is it that you will overlook? Because for 25 grand, a lot of people are crossing that horse straight off their list. There's got to be some things wrong with it. Are there some things that you'll forgive and some things you won't? Conformation-wise, I don't mind. I'll accept an offset horse, you know, offset at its knees, if I think the horse is well balanced and you know, it looks mature. Generally, with offset horses, you have to just give them plenty of time for those knee bones and those joints to mature and come together naturally. You know, he's probably not as good a walker as I'd like. Generally, but he's a good, strong colt, and Coach House first season sire. He'd be the type I'd take a chance on at the right price. Yeah. I also like to see them up in the ring then with other horses and see what their attitude is like then. And sometimes you go on a horse, sometimes you'll like a horse more, and sometimes I like a horse less. You know, when I see it up in the ring. At that sort of level that you're buying at, you're taking risks. Some of them aren't going to work out, obviously. When you've bought the ones in the past that have worked out, the Unfortunately's, the 2 Kill for Schools, I remember seeing you after the breeze-ups when you had bought 2 Kill for School and you were excited about that horse. Can you sort of get a feeling that early on? Or? Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better, and in the opposite way, there's nothing worse than leaving a sale. There's nothing better thinking you've pinched one, or you think you've got some good value for out of the sale. Do you ever worry that why did no one else pick that up for 20 grand? Because I'd question myself and think, no one else wanted it. What's wrong with it? Have I missed something? I could name a few owners now that come around the sale and they won't bid on a horse because he's too cheap. I mean, to me, that's madness. Yeah. Absolute madness. You know, I had that last week. You know, why is nobody bidding on the horse? I mean, because they haven't seen what you see. You know. With thousands of horses to view at each sale, making a hasty decision on which horses to cross off your list is an equally important part of the process. So like a horse like that, he seemed to have quite an active walk. Yeah, he did. He just pushed out, you know, just led with one knee a little bit, and probably not, you know, a little bit narrow in front for me as well. Casamentos tend to take a little bit of time, so in my experience, they have anyway.
And that's the decision made, you know, that's enough for you to go cross that one off the list.
Yeah, to be honest, because there's so many horses, and there'll be so many like that. Yeah, you may turn out in a nice horse in a year's time, but you know, it's they're expensive to keep, and you know, you've got to make that decision. So I tend to be pretty ruthless in it's either a yes or a no pretty quickly.
Do you prefer to buy a yearling, a foal, a breeze-up horse?
I've never bought a foal. It's something I've thought about doing, but you know, it's a different. It's hard enough. It's hard enough. And more cost. It's hard enough finding them as yearlings and 2-year-olds. As never mind as foals. So that's another game altogether. If I'm honest, I prefer yearlings, buying yearlings. Yeah. But we've had great success with the breeze ups, and I do like the breeze ups. Yeah.
And what happens when you get hold of a yearling? Do you break them straight away? Do you like to break them yourself? Do you send them off to someone else? We love to break them at home, but as we've got busier and the yard's got bigger, and we've made a mistake there a few times of bringing yearlings into the yard and mixing them with the, although we don't mix them as such, but in the same vicinity as the horses that are still in training to the end of October. Yeah. And generally it doesn't work. So the last few years now we ship them out, and a lot of the breaking work is done sort of up to the end of October. We may bring some back then and finish them off, and our lads finish them off, and you know, we've got great facilities to do that. I do prefer to break them ourselves though. And what happens when, obviously when they hit the track you have a good idea of what you've got on your hands, but how early can you tell? Can the guys that are breaking them give you feedback on what's what? Do you have to see them canter before you really know what you've got on your hands?
I love to see them when they're at the stage they've just been broken and we're doing a figure of eights and hacking about, and then you get a real feel for how they move. Yeah. You know, I'm a big believer in a good walking horse, and generally a good walking horse will you know, carry on that. It'll be a good trotter, he'll be a good canter, but not always the case. So I love to see them when they're doing their figure of eights, and I tend to get a nice feel for them then, but you never really know until you push the button. When we first started buying yearlings and breaking them and trying to buy these sharp ones, we were getting them going and doing plenty of work with them up to Christmas. We don't do as much now as we used to. You know, we've backed right off. It's all about education for me. But while you're educating them, you're obviously doing a certain amount of work with them, but you've got to get them enjoying that work. And you know, they do a lot of stalls work before Christmas now, and you know, they'll everything, touch wood, will you know, we don't have too many problems in the stalls. A lot of cantering upsides, but not so much fast work. We used to get them stretching, and I can remember a few times, but you know, you'd get them doing half speeds up before Christmas, but the amount of horses that it helped, you probably broke 2 or 3 along the way, and it's just not worth it.
Inspections complete, it's time to head to the sales ring, where the final decisions are made before the money is spent. And so when you come in to bid on a horse, obviously you'll have certain orders from owners, but a lot of the time you're buying horses on spec. How much can you push it on the price? How much are you thinking to yourself, oh, I think I can probably sell this to this person? Is that all going around your head at the time?
Definitely. Obviously, I can't afford to keep every horse I buy, so I've got to be, you know, thinking of who I can sell them on to. But at the same time, when I'm buying a horse or trying to buy value, I'm always thinking, well, I might end up with half this horse, I might end up with a leg of this horse, and I want to make sure I'm buying some sort of value. So that's very much in the case. If I'm given an order, in lots of respects, I'd rather come and do my own thing, in lots of respects. This year we have got a few nice orders and some good money to spend. And it's, in some ways it helps, in other ways it's a hindrance. It helps because you might think, well, I really like this horse, but I might, if I was buying for myself, I might not be able to afford it, so I can afford to push the boat out a little bit. So that's a good thing, and hopefully we'll pick up some, at the same time, still value, but at a higher level.
This year, after a stellar season, an order for a slightly more expensive addition to the team is on the table. One Karl is hoping might be filled by a racy son of Mason, lot 620 through the ring. Success for the team as Mark Crossman signs for the colt at 120,000 guineas, now en route to join Karl's string at Spigot Lodge.
Very pleased, yeah. Probably paid a little bit more than I thought we'd have to, but that's just a sign of the market. But he's a lovely racy colt, and hopefully he'll be out early, nice and early for a new client.
Perfect, and of course it's been such a great season, so coming into the sales off the back of that, I mean, how much of a difference does that make to your business? Have you had a lot of new orders come in?
We've definitely had a few new customers, including the owner of who's a new client for the Masons. So if you're not getting new clients when you're having a successful time, then you're going to be in trouble. But that's the nature of the game. You know, you have a bad season and you lose people, and vice versa.
And obviously the morning, was that the high point of the season for you?
I think so. It was fantastic. I never really wanted to run the two horses together, and it just worked out that way. Both horses deserved a shot at a Group 1, and with unfortunately winning the Papan, the Group 2, the natural step was to go Group 1. The owners of the grey horse, Havana Grey, they're very sporting people, and they were mad keen all the way along to run in the morning, and I had to twist their arm to go for the Molecombe, go that route. And then once he won the Molecombe, they said, look, let's give it a shot. So that was a very good performance, by both horses.
Karl went on to have more Group 1 success, with Laurens winning the Fillies Mile at Newmarket. And with several new purchases made to replenish the stock at Spigot Lodge, she might not be the only one making headlines in 2018.